Welcome to 10 for 10, a series of interviews with personalities and dedicated leaders across the Major Arena Soccer League, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary. I'm your host, Eric Bergrud. For this week's episode, I'm joined by Kevin Healey, president of the Harrisburg Heat. Welcome to 10 for 10, Kevin.
Happy to be here, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you. So throughout your storied professional indoor soccer career, you've won 9 championships. Does any one of them stick out as most special?
Yes, I mean, obviously they're all special. Winning at home is special. The first one is special. First one in Milwaukee had a little 3-point controversy on it that Art likes to talk about. But the one I go back to is our first championship in Sonora and the situation that went around that. It was in the MASL. We had the same series we have now, home and away, and then a mini game. And we were home for the first game, and we dropped that first game at home. It was a great game, two good teams battling, and we lost the game. And then we had to travel to Sonora. Well, the travel plans were really difficult for both teams. It was a spring break. We couldn't fly through Arizona like we normally did. I think Sonora was flying into Houston and busing from there. And we were able to fly into San Diego, but we had a long layover in San Diego. And kudos to Phil Salvaggio. He helped us out where we actually left the airport, went, had some lunch at other place along the beach, and then came back and went into Sonora. But after the first game in Baltimore, Jeff Husted, who I have a lot of respect for, Jeff did a great job in Kansas City in front of the league. He was interviewing Pat, who was the captain of the team, after the game as they were leaving the locker room. And he was asking the right question. And, of course, it was leaning towards you're down 1, you're going to Sonora, nobody's able to win down there, your travel plans are terrible. It's a lot of negative. And Pat looked at him, I remember and said, if you think we're going down there to lose, you're mistaken. We don't care about our travel plans. We don't care what's in front of us. We're going down there to win a championship. Fast forward, we go down. We're doing our kick around the morning of the game. And one of the executives in the league comes up to Pat and a couple of the players and said, you're going to have trouble winning here. Nobody can win here. You can't win here. And the field was small. In Baltimore, we were used to a big field at that time, playing in the arena downtown. The field was very small. All the boards were a little bit different. Every ball off the board tended to go towards the middle, right into the penalty area. We like to front our targets. That was going to be difficult to do that way. But he was basically saying we can't win. And Pat, like my father would have said, well, they're going to have a great crowd tonight. And I heard it's going to be really loud. They've done a lot of work for this, so it would be a shame if we didn't show up. So we'll just come and play and see what happens. And fast forward, we won the first game in overtime, we won the mini game, and we were the champions. That was a great moment.
Well, speaking of Pat, both you and your son, Heat head coach Pat, came to Harrisburg from Baltimore. How have you both built a professional relationship over the years?
Yeah, well, once again, my dad was a good mentor in that because he was big in Baltimore soccer too, and he let me do my thing. But I was asked that question. Obviously, we're Baltimore guys, born and bred. So I was asked that question many times in the media in Baltimore. And my answer was different than sometimes what I read to other people. I said, let's be clear. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, Pat is my son. He never is not my son. However, being my son, he's under the microscope here. He's got to earn it. He's got to do what he needs to do. And obviously during his playing career, he did that. He had an absolutely amazing playing career. I think even the year before he took the Harrisburg Heat job, that last year he played, he was all MASL. And the same thing going up as a coach. I mean, why was he a special player? Yes, he passed the ball well. Yes, he scored goals as a defender. But he was very, very intelligent. And it just led to his being able to be a good coach. And he knew what it took to win, same as those blast teams we talked about in Sonora. We had a group of guys that knew how to win. So he does the playing side. I do the business side. We bounce things off of each other. But that's been pretty seamless and pretty simple for us.
So that actually is a good segue to 2 related questions I have for you. And here's the first. So looking across your career, how has indoor soccer changed on the playing side from a tactical perspective?
Well, a lot of it has changed a good bit, and a lot of it is due to rule changes. When I first got in, we had the over and back rule, so you pressured at that yellow line because they couldn't go back. There was a rule change about not being able to play the ball back to the keeper with the feet and pick it up, because at that time you could play the ball, and if you played it in the corner, if you didn't play a good ball, ball could be just played back to the keeper. And Otto Orff in Cleveland, and they were often running the Zerich and Thorne and Marinero. And the recent rule change that Keith put in, that I think the players really adjusted and the coaches adjusted to very well. But I think the biggest change is, if you look back over my time and also even back in the 80s, it's just everyone is really, really emphasized the defensive side of the ball, emphasizing getting 5 men behind the ball, where to pressure, how to pressure, bringing the ball out of back. We did all that too, but I think they're just getting better at it. Switching from zone to man to zone, bringing the ball out when you're pressuring, bringing the ball out of the back. So defensively, I just think it's a lot better, and there's a lot less space on the field, including even back in the 80s. Listen, they had amazing players back then. If you look back at those tapes, there's a lot more space on the field then. Offensively, I think some of the runs have changed. Some of the futsal runs have come into the game too. So it's just natural that over having pro soccer over 40 years now, that tactically it's improving. And that's the coaches, the early on coaches did a great job of taking this game and running with it. But looking at tape over the years has improved the game. Now, the one area that they may not do as well is our free kicks at the top of the box are unbelievable. But when I first started coaching, it was, if you kicked the ball out, the ball went wherever you kicked it from. That caused some controversy, wherever the spot was, it a good spot. But our free kicks from around the sides of the penalty area were practiced every day because there were so many of them in the game, where more now it's the top of the box. So when a foul is called and it's on the side of the box, they may not do it quite as well as we actually did it 15, 20 years ago now, but just because of the time put in. But overall, the tactics of the game are much better, and the coaches are doing a great job.
So here's the second part of the question. How has indoor soccer changed during that time from a business perspective?
Oh, big change. I mean, when I got involved in 1998, at that time, your advertising for everything now is on the phone. Everything's on the phone. Your entertainment is on the phone. Your ways of getting information is on the phone. You advertised back then. You did radio commercial, you did TV commercial, you did the newspaper. Newspaper was critical. Could you get articles in the paper? Could you get midweek articles in the paper? Are they covering your game? All those things were very, very critical. But now it's more social media, getting the word out through social media, and the entertainment that the families are used to now using their phone. You got to create that entertainment at the game, and it's still got to be centered around the game though. But where it is the same, and I think where we may be missing a little bit, is you can't do everything on social media. That one-on-one interaction is still very, very important in sales. They need to hear the excitement in your voice. They need to hear to say, if we honor your team before the game, we honor your high school before the game. Think about how those kids are going to feel. Think about how that moment is going to be big for you. Think about the 10-year-old that's getting a part of the parade of champion, getting a medal before the game. How they're going to feel. How they're going to remember that. It's going to be it's going to be the next best day than Christmas. They need to hear that excitement, and that excitement comes through one-on-one interaction. So I think that one-on-one interaction is still very important, and we need to hold ourselves to higher standards in the league. I mean, everybody wants to refer back to the 80s, the glory days, when people were packing the arenas, and that's true because they did some innovative things back then. However, just 10, 12, 13 years ago, we were putting big crowds in Baltimore, big crowds, and having nights that were over 100,000 in revenue, just ticket sales. And what we're doing, and Baltimore's still doing well at their Towson Arena, and what's happening. If you equate that with the ticket prices now, and to be able to collect the parking, or the parking went to the city back then, and now they're in the ticket revenue, that might be $150,000 to $200,000 nights. And right now, people are or, you know, we have a solid crowd somewhere and it's like, oh, that was unbelievable. No, it just during our era, not long ago, we were drawing more people. And I think it's up to all of our teams, including Harrisburg, to do a better job at that, to get the crowds in, to get the attendance in there. And in Harrisburg, we have improved that. And the one thing I'll say, but we have a long way to go. I will say in Harrisburg, we hold the value of our ticket up. People come in, they're paid tickets. They're paid tickets to come in. In fact, some of the empty seats you see are paid tickets. Because we run tournaments all day long. Next Sunday, March 10th, we're going to be running a tournament from 7 a.m. to after the game. Everybody walks in our arena needs to have a ticket, a paid ticket. We discount it for them to $16, but they need to have a paid ticket. So some people don't. We want everybody to stay for the game. Some grandparents, aunts and uncles may not stay for the game because they're tired. They were there all day. So, but we're holding the value up to say you walked into a professional arena and played, and you're going to pay to do that, and you offer them a good tournament, and hopefully they'll come back. If they don't stay that evening, they'll come back another evening and buy a ticket for that night.
So here's my final question. Although this 10 for 10 series looks back to the MASL's past, I would like to ask you a forward-thinking question. How do you see the league evolving over the next 10 years?
I think the league is in a good spot. I think we need to improve what I just talked about, holder standards, hiring, getting people in it. Every team's job. Everybody looks at the league front office, but it's every team's job to do a better job. We need to do a better job in Harrisburg. Everyone needs to keep improving. We need to put more people in the seats. We need to have the proper people to give us guidance on. I talked about the cell phone and how that changed. Like, give us guidance on those changes that are what going to happen. So we got to, all the teams have got to keep getting base hits so that the league can hit that home run and can hit that grand slam. Bring that big partner in. Bring those big sponsors in what we're doing, and to be able to showcase this game by whatever media outlets are out there at that point in time, whether it's TV or through the phone or through Twitch or whatever it did, because we have a great game. This is an unbelievable game. I love the game. I watch all the games. And if we all work together, our future is very bright.
Well, thank you for your time, Kevin. And thanks to each of you for joining us. We will be back soon with another 10 for 10 interview.